Assalamu alaikum students. This is your lecture 6 for water supply and sanitary engineering. In this lecture you will study the second unit, that is water demand and consumption. In this second unit you will have to study about water demand and the types of water demand, the variation in rate of demand, population forecasting methods, modes of water supply, and the sources of supply of water. Now, what is water demand? It is the quantity of water that would be required by a town or a city for various purposes, for present population, and the provision is also made for future population. The water supply system is to be designed in such a way that it would satisfy the water requirements of present as well as the future generation. Now, the rate of demand. The rate of demand is the average demand of water for various purposes per person per day. In other words, we can say the rate of demand is the amount of water consumed by one person for one day. It is represented as liters per capita per day, or LPCD. It's given by the formula Q equal to V divided by P into 365. Where Q, it is the average rate of demand in LPCD, and V, it's the total quantity of water required per year by a town or a city. It's measured in liters, and P is the population of that town or a city. Then the design period. As I said, the water supply project is planned and designed so that it has sufficient capacity to meet the needs of present as well as future population. For some number of years, these number of years for which a provision is made, that is the number of years for which the water supply system is being designed, is called the design period. The water supply system should not become uneconomical or useless before the design period is completed. Now, the types of water demand. The water can be required by people for various uses like drinking, bathing, washing, and not only the domestic uses, the water is also required by industries. So, depending upon the use of water, the various types of water demand are the domestic water demand, commercial and industrial water demand, the demand for civic and public use, fire demand, and the loss and wastage of water. Now, it's not easy to estimate how much water would be required for domestic use, industrial use, etc., as the water consumption by people depend on various factors. Now we will discuss each of these demands. First is the domestic water demand. It is the water which is required for private residences, houses, apartments, etc. This water is used for drinking, cooking, bathing, washing clothes, washing utensils, cleaning of houses, lawn watering, gardening, sanitary purposes, etc. It depends upon the living condition of people that how much water they will use in their homes. Now, according to IS 1172/1993, the domestic water demand for high income groups is 200 LPCD, and for low income groups it is 135 LPCD. As the high income groups have high standards of living, For example, they would require water for air conditioning, etc. Now, taking the 135 LPCD, that is for low income groups, the table gives the breakup of this 135 LPCD for different uses. For drinking, 5 LPCD is consumed. For cooking, 5 LPCD. For bathing, 55. Washing clothes, 20. Washing utensils, 10. Cleaning of houses, 10. And flushing of water closets, it's 30. The domestic water demand is approximately 40 to 60% of total water demand. Now, the commercial and industrial water demand. This is the water used by commercial buildings like offices, hospitals, hotels, restaurants, cinemas, schools, etc., and the industries and factories. The average commercial and industrial demand accounts to 20 to 25% of the total water demand of a town or a city. In small towns, it's 40 LPCD, and in industrial towns, about 400 LPCD is consumed. Now, the demand for civic or public use. It includes that water which is required for public utility purposes, such as watering of public parks or gardens, road washing, sprinkling of water on dusty roads, cleaning public sanitary blocks, decorative features like public fountains, etc. This demand is about 5 to 10% of total water demand. Now, the most important one is fire demand. The amount of water required for firefighting is called fire demand. The fire breaks out and causes a lot of damage within very less time. In areas with more population, the fire may cause more damage. So it's very important to stop the fire at right time so that the provision is to be made from the water demand, and the fire hydrants are also used. These help in throwing water at very high speeds. The fire demand is estimated by some empirical formulas. First is Cushing's formula, where Q equal to 2650 under root of P. Q is the quantity of water that would be required to meet the fire demand by a town of population P. Q is measured in liters per day. Now the Freeman's formula, where Q is equal to 946 into P by 5 plus 10. Q is the quantity of water required for firefighting, measured in liter per minute, and P is the population of the town in thousands. Now it's very important to remember the units of every parameter. For example, the population of a town is 50,000. Then you have not to take the 50,000 instead of P. You have to take only 50 as population is in thousands. You also have to consider the difference between liters per minute or liter per hour, liter per day, so as to avoid the confusions in these empirical formulas. Now, according to the manual on water supply and treatment, it recommends the following formula if the population of town is greater than 50,000. Q is equal to 100 times root of P, where Q is the quantity of water required in kiloliter per day, and P, it's the population of the town in thousands. Now the loss and wastage of water. I, it's also called unaccounted for water. It's caused by the leakage of mains, valves, and other fittings due to damaged meters, theft of water. It accounts for about 30 to 40% of total consumption. It's about 55 LPCD. This was the end of this lecture. In the next lecture, we will study about the factors affecting rate of demand and the variation in rate of demand.